Hey everybody, this is Paige from Mosaic Moments, and today I just wanted to show you a quick flip through on some of my favorite Christmas pages using the Mosaic Moments grid system. So I'm going to go through different Christmas pages of each level. So I'm starting with pages made with the level 1 dies. So this first layout uses the die set called Ginger Friends, and as you can see, this page has 3 gingerbread men, and this set does come with little accessories to put on the Ginger Friends, and they're very decorative, of course, for any kind of Christmas layout, and of course, they were appropriate for these photos of a gingerbread house. And a huge reason why I love this layout is, this may sound funny, but these photos are not great. As you can see, these photos have pretty low lighting. They were taken indoors, and they may actually look pretty sharp on the camera, but some of these photos are pretty blurry. But sometimes that's the best photos you have, but you want to keep the memories. This is my rule. Whenever your photos are lower quality, you can always decorate the page with more embellishments and add more color, and it makes the layout more interesting, even though your photos may not be so much. So you can still use your, let's say, not your best photos on a Mosaic Moments layout, but again, I recommend decorating it up. All right, this is another pretty layout. This is the Norge die set, and this die was given the name Norge because it is inspired by Nordic designs. It is not a Christmas die necessarily, but it certainly could look great with Christmas pages like I did here. It also is a great die for winter because it kind of has a snowflake look. It also could be a type of floral. It looks great on this layout. So here I used a lot of traditional Christmas colors, and in the Norge die, I put in a little bit of stickles in the center. You could also add in sticker gems, but I really like adding a little bit of sparkle, especially to my decorative level 1 dies. It just adds a little something fun, and I love it when my pages have a little bit of shimmer on them. So that's why I like this layout, love the shimmer, and the Norge dies look really, really good with Christmas layouts. So this layout is a favorite, not just of mine, but many of our customers love this idea, and who cannot love this idea? So this layout does have a mix of level 2 and level 1 dies, in the sense there's this mosaic here, but the real star, there's a star in here, but the real star of the whole page is these circle tiles, and of course this layout makes a Christmas tree pattern, and this is a page pattern on our pattern gallery. I'll put the pattern number in the description below, but that is the fun part of this layout, and I did use the circle tile dies, but you could just put in 2x2 squares or another 2x2 die that creates a frame. But I really love it. I think I use the circles because it's kind of like ornaments on a tree. And of course, I put a star on top of my tree. So this is a great layout. Again, this is a pattern, or you can look at this video to see the page layout here. And it is a fun one to create that Christmas tree look on your Mosaic Moments page. Really fun one, and also a great way to display a lot of your photos as well. A lot of people really love this Christmas layout. All right, this one is just gorgeous. It is one of my top favorite Christmas layouts, and it's really the photos. But one thing I want to point out is it did use the grid die. So the grid die makes these 1-inch squares, and you're able to create a mosaic look on your layouts with that die. And of course, the photos are gorgeous. During Christmas time, definitely get up close to the Christmas trees and take pictures on multiple spots. So these photos were taken of this tree behind us here. So, and it turned out really good. And this tree is at the Port Orleans Resort at Disney World, and of course, they make wonderful Christmas trees. So if you're heading there for Christmas, definitely take some photos of their trees. They are amazing. They do a really good job with them. What I want to point out, though, is the grid die is one of my favorites for Christmas. So if you don't have that die, definitely grab it for your Christmas pages because you're probably going to take a lot of photos of decorations. So I have done multiple pages where I cut up the tree decorations into mosaic and it looks really good every time. You can't go wrong with it. I have another mosaic one here, and these two sides were one photo, and then this was another photo and it looks as if it's one big photo, right? First of all, you want to take multiple photos of the same subject. So of course there was multiple photos of the same tree. And then when you cut multiple photos, you can blend them together and it almost appears as if it's one photo. I mean, if you looked at it really carefully, you can kind of tell it's not from the same photo, but that is the Mosaic Moments magic on first look. It looks like you printed out one big photo. But just again, these two sides here, this was actually one photo. And then up here is a different photo. So it's a really neat one, but I really wanted to show this layout for the colors. So it may be a little bit different, but pink can actually be a fun Christmas color. And of course, it fit with the cupcake shop that my family went to. But that's what I really love about this layout. The colors are different. So if you're, Christmas is something that comes year after year and you might get tired of just seeing red and green layouts, right? Go get some inspiration. I obviously use pattern paper here, and that's kind of what inspired my paper colors. So that's what I would say. Go look at some other patterned paper companies and see what colors they put together. Or use the inspiration of a certain place. So at this place, obviously, the restaurant has a lot of pink, and they had gold in the tree. So that helped inspire the colors of the layout as well. You don't have to stick with just red and green. Go and expand your color choices when you make your Christmas layout. Speaking of that, this one is a little bit different as well because it has a brown background, which I don't use brown for Christmas layouts very often, but this one was great because this was of Colonial Williamsburg, which is, of course, an historic site here in Virginia. I wanted my layout to have a more historic feel. And I do love this layout. It also uses the grid die. You can't go wrong with the grid die. So my previous two were Christmas trees. This mosaic is of a Christmas wreath. So if you're in an area where a lot of people put wreaths on their doors, or there's a place you can go walk around and take pictures of the wreaths, that is an awesome way to go to. At Colonial Williamsburg, they put up these beautiful wreaths every year, so we have dedicated multiple of our Christmas pages to these wreaths. And so that's what you're seeing here is a close-up of one of them. And I also love the colors. Again, the reason why it works because it's a historic site. If you want your page to have an old historic Christmas feel, like think Charles Dickens or something, then this brown and a darker green are great color choices. And I also have this ivory here, so a little bit off-white could be a nice neutral for that as well. So that's why I like it. I love the overall feel and theme with this color combination photos. It just looks really good. All right, this is our North Pole die. And it makes this fun zigzag design on your pages. And what's neat about this one is if I wanted to, I can make a 2-page spread and just have this go across a long border. So if you're making a 2-page spread, this is a pretty easy one to expand across 2 pages. I also this is another one. It's not a grid die like the previous 2 mosaics, but obviously I have these photos here taken on. These photos were from a Christmas tree again. Get a lot of Christmas tree photos because they make the best Mosaic Moments pages. So that's what it's featuring here along with this fun pattern paper. This was from Basic Grace. So it is sadly no longer available, but it was a great one for these photos were taken at Tampa Busch Gardens, which if you've been there, they're theme parks based on the continent of Africa. So I kind of felt like this pattern paper sort of fit into that. It's technically a Christmas paper, but it kind of it has a lot of distressed elements on there, so I felt like it fit with this theme park as well. But the North Pole die is a fun one for decorating your pages. Again, if you love this chevron or zigzag look, you will love the North Pole die. All right, this is one of my favorites as well. well, all of these are my favorite, but there's some that I just absolutely love, and this is one of them. So I do have a video, I'll link to it, that shows you how to make this ring around your horizon dies. It's not too hard. It does take a few extra steps. You have to use the dies, and then you have to hand cut a little bit off to get that ring. But it's totally worth it. And in this ring, I also put in these stickles. So I just put them down as little dots. And I have these snowflakes are from our Mr. Snow and Flake set. So that set has a little snowman and these snowflakes. And I put gems on them. But also, if you are feeling like you're not getting enough journaling on your layouts, try using paper strips. So the horizon die doesn't necessarily have a lot of room for journaling, but the strips was so easy. I just wrote these words and then cut them in the strips and glued them on these horizon sections with the pattern paper. This layout's one of my favorites because there's a lot of fun embellishing. You also can't go wrong with the horizon dies, right? The Horizon collection is a favorite here for sure. One of our favorite die collections. So we just use it whenever we can. The real big thing about this layout is all the embellishing. And embellishing can feel a little bit chaotic sometimes, but on a Mosaic Moments layout, it still all looks very organized, even with all these little detailed embellishments. So I have two more layouts, and they're both level 3. We also call it adventure level. This is a layout I just did recently with the Clover dies. So the Clover design's a great one if you just don't have a ton of Christmas photos. Sometimes during the holidays you're really busy and you don't necessarily take a lot of photos on Christmas Day. So if you're feeling like there's only a few to highlight, the Clover die might be a good one because there's just 4 spots to fit in bigger photos, you can say, and then the rest of it's really to fill in more decorative photos. And I just love this page. It has that nice homey feel. My previous pages were just bright and fun, but you can also go with a lot more. I just look at this and I want to snuggle in a blanket. Like, it has the wood background and it has this nice plaid paper. So if you're looking for some new color ideas, or sometimes I say base your colors on a feeling. So to me, this just feels homey and comforting. So that's how I feel when I look at this layout, and that's what I was going for. So sometimes, like I said, you can base your color choices on a particular feeling you want your page to have. And one of the things I want to talk about is this. So this was a wreath that we have, and so, you know, on Christmas morning or sometime, I wouldn't, Christmas Day is a little bit crazy, but I took these on Christmas morning. I was the first one awake at the house. But even before Christmas, make sure to take pictures of the decorations, because on Christmas Day, you're going to be probably very busy. So I recommend getting these kind of photos before the festivities begin for you. And they obviously wreaths and Christmas trees are just, they're an absolute must when you're making Mosaic Moments pages because they make great fillers. So that's what I have here is this wreath, and this wreath didn't have any ornaments, but it has these little pine cones, and I felt like it went with the overall comforting feel of this layout. All right, this is the last page. So this layout was made with the On the Dot collection, which is an awesome collection. And right here are actually the Holly Borders dies. And I'm going to tell you something that I did. I don't think I've described it anywhere else, but it's a neat trick that I did. So there's 2 layers, and you can see every border uses the same 2 colors. So I cut the holly part, the holly die. Well, first of all, I have this blue here that I cut with the 1x4 die in the basic set. And then I cut the Holly Borders die with this white paper, and I didn't waste any of it, as you can see. So I cut it, and then I layered this over this sheet and then glued in the little parts, as you can see here. I'll say sneaky tip you can do. And also this page looks great with the On the Dot dies. What I love, of course, my favorite part of the On the Dot die collection is these little circles, so you can add in more details and focus on certain things. So Again, this is obviously a trend. This part was filled in by a Christmas tree that was in this restaurant we visited. And then I was able to put little details from the restaurant in these little circles. I was able to fill in more details than usual on this layout because of the On the Dot collection. And it just looks really good. It's a really nice Christmas layout. All right, we have reached the end of today's video. I hope all of you found some inspiration today. Of course, all of these ideas can be used for any holiday or really any occasion. And many of the dies I showed today were not limited to just Christmas time. Anyway, I hope all of you have a happy holiday and a happy new year as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.